Welcome to Natural Word English. I'm Emma, and this is the place where you stop collecting basic words and start sounding like someone who actually thinks in English. Before you do anything else, say this out loud, right now, wherever you are. I am ready to upgrade my English. Say it again, a little louder. Good. That's the energy we're going to keep for the next hour or so, because today you're not going to memorize a random list of words. You're going to walk through real situations, a difficult moment at work, an honest conversation with a friend, a decision you're not sure about. And in every single one of those situations, I'm going to hand you the exact word a native speaker would reach for. Not a textbook word, a real one. Here's the promise for today. By the end of this video, you will have more than 60 advanced English words and expressions, every one of them explained in the simplest possible English, every one of them tied to a real-life situation you can picture in your head, and every one of them practiced out loud with me more than once. This is advanced English vocabulary in real-life context, and if you stay with me from beginning to end, your English is going to sound noticeably more mature by the time we're done. Let me tell you why we're doing it this way. And I promise, this will take less than 2 minutes, because I know you didn't come here for a lecture. Most people try to learn vocabulary by studying a word on its own, the way you'd memorize a phone number. The problem is, a word without a situation is just noise. Your brain has nothing to hang it on, so it slides right back out a day later. But when you learn a word inside a story, when you can see the coffee getting cold on the table, when you can hear the tone of someone's voice as they say it, your brain files that word next to a memory, and memories don't disappear the way random facts do. So every word today is going to arrive wrapped inside a small scene. I'll set the scene for you, give you the word in plain English, show you the ordinary word it's replacing, give you a natural example sentence, and then, for most of these words, we'll walk through a short conversation between two people so you can hear exactly how it's used when real people are talking to each other. Ba. And I'll ask you to say things out loud with me. That part matters more than you think, so don't skip it, even if you're alone in your car or lying in bed with your eyes closed. Let's begin with the first block, and this one is about emotions and personality, because the words you use to describe how you feel and who you are say more about your English level than almost anything else. Picture this. Picture this. You've just walked out of a meeting where your idea was praised in front of the whole team. Your chest feels light. There's a small smile you can't quite control, and you almost want to tell a stranger on the street. If you only know basic English, you'd say, I feel happy. That's correct, but it's flat, it's small. It doesn't match the size of what you're actually feeling. The word a fluent speaker reaches for here is elated. Elated simply means extremely happy, so happy that it shows on your face and in the way you move. It's happy turned up to its highest volume. Listen to how it sounds in a sentence. She was elated when she found out she got the promotion. Say that with me now. She was elated when she got the promotion. One more time, a little faster this time, she was elated. Good. Now here's a short conversation so you can hear elated the way it actually gets used between two friends. Picture two coworkers standing by the elevator at the end of the day. One of them practically bouncing on her feet. You look like you're about to explode. What happened? I just got the email. I got the fellowship. Wait, the one in Berlin? The one you've been waiting 3 months for? That's the one. I am absolutely elated right now. I can barely think straight. That's incredible. You deserve this so much. Thank you. I still can't believe it's real. Notice how naturally elated slides into a real reaction. Right next to, I can barely think straight. That's the kind of sentence a native speaker builds without even thinking about it. And now you have the piece that makes it possible. Oh! Let's move to the opposite feeling, because life isn't only good news. Imagine you're sitting across from a good friend and they start telling you about something painful that happened to them years ago, something they've never told anyone else. There's a particular emotion you feel in that moment. Not exactly sad, more like your heart softening toward them, wanting to reach out and comfort them. In basic English, you'd say, I feel bad for them. The upgraded, much warmer word is moved, or if you want something stronger, touched. To be moved means an experience has affected you emotionally, deeply enough that you might even feel tears forming. I was deeply moved by her story. Repeat with me. I was deeply moved. Again, deeply moved. Here's a small scene. A man is watching his daughter perform in her first piano recital, and afterward, backstage, this happens. Dad, why are your eyes wet? I'm just really moved, sweetheart. You played beautifully. Short, simple, completely natural. That's the beauty of these words. Once you know them, they slide into ordinary moments instead of sitting in a textbook. Let's talk about personality now, because describing people well is one of the fastest ways to sound advanced. Think about someone in your life who never seems to get rattled. Bad news arrives, and they just calmly figure out the next step. The basic word is calm. But the word that really captures this quality is composed, or even better, unflappable. Unflappable describes someone who stays calm no matter how difficult or chaotic the situation gets. Nothing seems to shake them. Even during the crisis, the manager remained completely unflappable. Say it with me. Unflappable. One more time, breaking it into pieces so the stress lands right. Unflappable. Good. Now here's a longer conversation, because I want you to hear how personality words come up naturally when people are simply gossiping about someone they admire. Picture two colleagues in the break room, coffee in hand, talking about their team leader after a stressful product launch. How is Marcus not losing his mind right now? The servers crashed twice today. I know. I've never seen him raise his voice, not even once. He's completely unflappable. I'd be in a corner crying. Same. I think that's actually why the team trusts him so much. Makes sense. When the leader panics, everyone panics. Exactly. His calm is contagious in the best way. Did you notice something? His calm is contagious. That's another beautiful, advanced way of saying his calmness spreads to other people. I'm giving you a small bonus phrase inside the dialogue because that's exactly how real fluency works. One good word often brings a second one along with it. Now, let's slow down for a moment and work on how these words actually sound when a native speaker says them quickly. Now, because reading a word is one skill and recognizing it in fast, natural speech is a completely different skill. Take the phrase, I was elated. Said slowly, word by word, it sounds like this. I was elated. But in real, fast conversation, was often gets swallowed, almost disappearing into a quick W sound. So it comes out closer to ease, elated, with the stress landing hard on the lay sound in elated. Try saying it slowly first. I was elated. Now try it fast, letting was shrink down small. I was elated. Good. Do that one more time, fast. I was elated. Let's do one more. He's completely unflappable, said slowly, is clear and separated. He is completely unflappable. In fast, natural speech, he is almost always contracts and blends into he's and completely often loses a little of its middle syllable, coming out more like completely. Try the slow version. He is completely unflappable. Now the fast, natural version. He's completely unflappable. This kind of listening, training your ear to catch words even when they blend together, is exactly what's going to help you understand real native speakers instead of only understanding careful, slow textbook English. We'll come back to this skill a few more times today, so keep your ear tuned. Nice work so far. You've already picked up 4 solid words, and we've barely started. Let's keep the momentum going and move into our second block, which is all about work and professional life, because this is where a huge number of English learners get stuck. They know enough English for daily life, but the moment they walk into a meeting, they freeze because they don't have the vocabulary that professionals actually use. Picture this scene. Picture this scene. You're in a meeting, and a colleague suggests an idea that sounds good on the surface, but you can immediately see 3 problems with it that nobody else has mentioned yet. In basic English, you might say, I don't think that's a good idea. That's honest, but it can sound blunt, even a little rude, in a professional setting. The advanced way to do this is to raise a concern, or to say, the plan has a flaw you'd like to address. A flaw is a weakness or a mistake in something that otherwise looks fine. I think there's a flaw in this approach that we should discuss before moving forward. Repeat with me. There's a flaw in this approach. Again, a little faster. A flaw in the approach. Let's hear how this actually plays out in a real meeting, because tone matters just as much as the word itself. Imagine a small conference room, 5 people around a table, a proposal document open on a shared screen. So that's the rollout plan. Any thoughts before we finalize it? I actually see a flaw in the timeline. We're assuming the vendor delivers by Friday, but they've missed that deadline twice before. That's a fair point. What would you suggest instead? Maybe we build in a buffer, push the internal deadline to the following Wednesday, just in case. I like that. Better to plan for reality than for the best case scenario. Exactly. It protects the whole team if something slips. That word, buffer, that slipped in there, extra time or space you add on purpose to protect yourself from a problem, is a bonus word for you. Completely free, because that's how fluent speakers naturally stack useful vocabulary together in real conversation. Now let's look at a word for when things go right instead of wrong. Imagine your team has been working on a difficult project for months, facing setback after setback, and finally, everything comes together and the launch goes smoothly. In basic English, it worked or it was successful. The word that really captures the feeling of overcoming difficulty to reach success is to pull something off. To pull something off means to succeed at something difficult, often something people doubted you could do. Honestly, I didn't think we'd finish in time, but the team really pulled it off. Say it with me. We pulled it off. One more time, with feeling like you're genuinely relieved and proud. We actually pulled it off. Here's a role swap moment, and this is important. So listen closely to how it works. I'm going to read the first line of a short conversation. As character A, a stressed project manager checking in after a big deadline. Then, I'm going to stop completely, and I want you to answer out loud. As character B, imagining you're the team member who just finished the impossible task. Take your time. There's no rush. Just say something natural using pulled it off. Ready? Here's my line. I still can't believe we shipped on time after everything that went wrong this month. How does it feel? Now pause the video for a second if you need to and answer as character B. Say it out loud. Here's a natural way a native speaker might respond, so you can compare it to what you said. Honestly, it feels amazing. For a while, I really didn't think we'd pull it off. But the team pushed through, and we did it. Notice the structure. Didn't think we'd pull it off, and we did it. That contrast between doubt and success is exactly the kind of sentence that makes your English sound emotionally real, not just grammatically correct. Let's add one more work-related word before we move on, because I want this block to be genuinely dense with useful language. Not just a couple of words stretched thin. Think about a coworker who always finds a reason to complain, who points out every possible problem before anyone has even started the project. In basic English, negative or always is complaining. The sharper, more precise word is pessimistic, and if you want an even more colorful, commonly used expression, you can say someone throws cold water on an idea. To throw cold water on something means to discourage it, to make something exciting suddenly seem unlikely to work, usually by pointing out problems. Every time we propose something new, he throws cold water on it before we even finish explaining. Repeat with me, he throws cold water on every new idea. One more time, throws cold water on it. Let's hear that phrase in a natural, slightly frustrated conversation between two co-workers walking to the parking lot after a long meeting. I was so excited about the new campaign idea until Daniel started talking. I know what you mean. He always throws cold water on things. It's not that his concerns are wrong, exactly. It's just the timing. Can we get excited for 5 minutes first? Right? Let us dream a little before reality shows up. That last line, let us dream a little before reality shows up, is a wonderfully natural, slightly funny way. Native speakers soften a complaint with humor. Keep that phrase in your back pocket. It works in almost any frustrating workplace situation. That's genuinely excellent progress for our first 2 blocks. You now have 7 strong words and expressions, all tied to real emotional and professional situations. And honestly, most learners never get vocabulary explained this way. With a scene, a feeling, a real conversations attached to it. That's the whole difference between memorizing and actually owning a word. Let's move into our 3rd block now. Technology and communication. Because this is a part of daily life where English learners often default to very basic verbs like use, check, and send. When native speakers actually have a much richer, more specific vocabulary for how we interact with our phones, our messages, and each other online and off. Picture this. You're lying in bed at 11 at night, and you can't stop opening your phone, checking the same 3 apps over and over, even though nothing new has happened. In basic English, I keep checking my phone. The more advanced, self-aware way to describe this is doom scrolling, or more generally, to say you're mindlessly scrolling. Mindlessly means without thinking, almost automatically, like your hand is moving on its own. I ended up mindlessly scrolling through my phone for an hour before I even realized it. Say it with me. I was mindlessly scrolling. One more time, a little slower, so you catch every syllable. Mindlessly scrolling. Now, let's look at the opposite side. Communication that's clear, direct, and effective, which is a skill many people struggle with, even in their own native language. Imagine a friend who never says what they actually mean, who hints and hints but never comes right out with it. And you're always left guessing what they really want. In basic English, she doesn't say what she means. The more precise word is she beats around the bush, or the word evasive. Evasive describes someone who avoids answering a question directly, often on purpose. Every time I ask him about his plans, he gets evasive and changes the subject. Try it with me. He's being evasive. Again, evasive. Here's a longer conversation, because this situation deserves a little visualization first. Picture 2 roommates in their kitchen on a Sunday morning. Coffee brewing, one of them clearly trying to get a straight answer out of the other about something that's been bothering her for days. Can I ask you something? And can you actually just answer it directly this time? Okay. That's a little intense for 9 in the morning, but sure. Did you tell the landlord about the leak in the bathroom or not? I mean, I sort of mentioned it in passing, kind of. That's not an answer. That's you beating around the bush again. Fine. No, I haven't told him yet. I've been putting it off. Thank you. See, that wasn't so hard. It really was, though. That phrase, I've been putting it off, is a wonderful bonus expression, meaning to delay doing something you don't want to do. and it pairs perfectly with beating around the bush because avoidance and procrastination often travel together in real life and now in your vocabulary too. Let's practice. One more listening and pronunciation moment before we move into our next block, because I promised you consistent, spread out practice with how English actually sounds at natural speed. Not just how it looks written down. Take the sentence, "I've been putting it off." Slowly, syllable by syllable. I have been putting it off. Now at natural speed, have almost disappears into a contraction and it blends directly into putting, so it comes out closer to I've been putting it off, with a soft rise and fall, almost a little sigh built into the rhythm. Because this is something people say when they feel a little guilty. Try the slow version first. I have been putting it off. Now the fast, natural version, with that little guilty sigh in your voice. I've been putting it off. You're doing wonderfully, and I mean that. 3 full blocks in, and you already have 9 real, usable pieces of advanced vocabulary in your head. Each one connected to a scene you can actually picture, which means each one is far more likely to stick than anything from a plain list. Take a breath. Maybe stretch your shoulders for a second if you're sitting down, because we've got quite a bit more ground to cover, and I want you fully present for it. When you're ready, keep listening, because next we're heading into how to talk about opinions and social situations with real confidence, and after that, travel, decision-making, relationships, and a full round of listening and shadowing training designed to help you actually understand native speakers at real speed, not just in a slow classroom recording. Let's keep going. Let's move into our 4th block, social situations and opinions, because knowing how to disagree politely, agree with real conviction, or express a nuanced opinion is one of the clearest markers of advanced English. Far more than knowing rare vocabulary words nobody actually uses. Picture this. You're at a dinner with friends, and someone shares an opinion you completely disagree with, but you respect them, and you don't want the evening to turn into an argument. In basic English, you might just say, I disagree, and leave it there, which can sound a little cold or final. The more advanced, more diplomatic way is to say you see it differently, or to respectfully push back. To push back means to disagree with or resist an idea, but in a controlled, thoughtful way, not an aggressive one. I see where you're coming from, but I'd have to respectfully push back on that. Say it with me. I'd respectfully push back on that. One more time, slightly softer, like you genuinely mean the respect part. Respectfully push back. Here's a small conversation so you can hear the tone this word needs, because push back can sound harsh if you say it the wrong way, but warm and thoughtful if you say it the right way. Picture 2 friends at a kitchen table, half-finished plates in front of them, discussing something they clearly both care about. I just think remote work has made everyone lazier. Honestly, I hear you, but I'd respectfully push back on that a little. Go on. I'm listening. I I think it's less about laziness and more about how badly some companies manage remote teams. The tools and structure matter a lot. Huh. Okay, that's actually a fair point. I hadn't thought about it that way. It's not that I think you're wrong. I just see it from a different angle. Notice how I hear you. Opens the disagreement gently before the pushback even begins. That small phrase alone can transform how disagreement lands in English, softening it just enough that the other person stays open instead of getting defensive. Now let's look at the opposite situation. Someone expressing strong agreement because I agree on its own is honest but plain. And native speakers have far richer ways to show real enthusiasm for an idea. Imagine your friend suggests a plan that you think is genuinely brilliant, and you want your reaction to actually match how excited you are. In basic English, I agree, that's a good idea. The advanced version is I'm completely on board, or that resonates with me. To resonate with someone means an idea feels deeply true or meaningful to them personally. Almost like it echoes something they already believed. What you just said really resonates with me. Try it. That really resonates with me. Again, a touch slower, feeling each syllable. Resonates with me. Let's talk about opinions in a slightly deeper way now, because sometimes you're not fully certain, and English has beautiful, precise vocabulary for that uncertainty too. Instead of just saying maybe over and over, picture yourself being asked whether a controversial new policy at work is a good idea. And honestly, you can see both sides clearly. You're genuinely torn. In basic English, I'm not sure. The advanced phrase is, I'm on the fence about it, meaning you haven't decided yet because there are good arguments on both sides. Honestly, I'm still on the fence about the new policy. There are pros and cons either way. Say it with me. I'm on the fence about it. One more time. On the fence. Now, before we move to our next block, let's spend a moment training your ear on the natural rhythm of opinion sentences, because these particular phrases get compressed heavily in fast speech, more than almost any other kind of sentence in English. Take I'm on the fence about it. Spoken slowly and clearly, I am on the fence about it. At natural conversational speed, blends completely into one beat. About it often collapses into something closer to bout it. And the whole sentence gets a light, almost shrugging rhythm to match the uncertainty being expressed. Slow version. I am on the fence about it. Fast, natural version, with a little shrug in your voice. I'm on the fence. Bout it. Try that fast version one more time on your own, out loud, right now. Wonderful. Let's move into our fifth block. And this one is travel and personal experiences, one of the richest areas for advanced vocabulary, because travel naturally produces strong emotions, vivid memories, and situations that basic vocabulary just can't fully capture. Close your eyes for a second if you're somewhere safe to do that, and picture this scene with me. You've just landed in a city you've never visited before. You step outside the airport, and the air smells completely different from home. The light hits the buildings at an unfamiliar angle, and there's a low hum of a language you don't fully understand surrounding you on every side. That specific feeling is a mix of excitement and slight disorientation because everything around you is new and strange. Has a wonderful advanced word, disoriented. Or if you want to describe the whole experience with more warmth, you can say it was surreal. Surreal describes something so strange, dreamlike, or unfamiliar that it barely feels real. Walking through the old city for the first time felt completely surreal. Say it with me. It felt surreal. One more time, letting the words stretch out a little, the way you would if you were genuinely amazed. Surreal. Here's a longer conversation for this one, and I want you to really picture the scene before the dialogue even begins, the way we discussed earlier, because this is exactly how native speakers naturally introduce a story, painting the picture first. Imagine a woman, video, calling her sister from a narrow cobblestone street in an old European town, lanterns glowing above her, the sound of distant music drifting from somewhere she can't quite see. Okay, you have to see this street. It's unbelievable. Here. Wait, turn the camera. Show me everything. I'm living through you right now. Look at this. String lights everywhere. And there's music coming from somewhere. I can't even tell where. Stop. I'm so jealous. How does it feel being there in person? Honestly, it feels surreal. Like I'm walking through a postcard, not real life. I need details. What have you eaten? Where are you staying? Tell me everything. Okay, sit down. This is going to take a while because today alone was incredible. Now, let's do a role swap here, because travel stories are the perfect place to practice this. I'm going to read the sister's excited line, and then I want you to answer as the traveler, describing something surreal or amazing you've actually experienced or imagined, using the word surreal somewhere in your answer. Ready? Okay, but seriously, out of everything so far, what's been the most unforgettable moment? Pause here and answer out loud as the traveler, using the word surreal naturally in your sentence. Here's one natural way someone might answer, so you can compare. Honestly, standing at the top of that old tower at sunset, watching the whole city turn gold, it felt completely surreal, like I was inside a painting. Notice the structure again. It felt completely surreal, like that little comparison at the end, like I was inside a painting, is a very natural way. Native speakers extend a feeling into a vivid image, and it's a pattern you can borrow for almost any surreal moment in your own life. Let's add 2 more travel words before we move on. Imagine you're traveling somewhere and everything goes wrong. Your flight gets delayed, your hotel loses your reservation, and then, somehow, despite it all, you still manage to have an unexpectedly wonderful day. In basic English, it was still a good day. The more advanced expression is the day turned around, meaning a bad situation improved unexpectedly, or you could say things took an unexpected turn for the better. The trip started terribly, but honestly, things took an unexpected turn for the better once we got to the coast. Repeat with me. Things took a turn for the better. One more time. A turn for the better. And finally, for this block, think about a trip that changes how you see the world afterward. Not just a nice vacation, but something that genuinely shifts your thinking. In basic English, it changed me. The precise, advanced phrase is, it was a formative experience, or that trip was eye-opening. Eye-opening describes something that reveals new information or a new perspective. Often, before living abroad for 6 months was genuinely eye-opening. It completely changed how I see my own culture. Say it with me. It was eye-opening. Again, eye-opening. That was a beautifully rich block, and honestly, you're handling these longer conversations really well, especially that role swap moment, which is genuinely one of the hardest parts of this kind of practice, so take real pride in that. Now, let's take a short breath together before we go further, because we've covered a lot of emotional ground in the last few blocks, and a little rest actually helps your brain absorb everything better rather than pushing straight through. For the next 30 seconds or so, you don't need to do anything except listen. Let your shoulders relax. Notice your breathing in and out, nice and slow. There's no vocabulary here, no pressure, just a small pause between one part of your learning and the next, the same way a good teacher gives you a moment to exhale before diving into the next idea. When you're ready, take one more slow breath and let's continue. Good. Let's move into block 6 now. Decision-making and problem-solving. Because whether it's a small daily choice or something much bigger, the words you use to talk through a decision reveal a huge amount about your English level. Picture this. You've got 2 job offers on the table, both genuinely good, and you find yourself going back and forth in your head for days, unable to settle on one. In basic English, I can't decide. The advanced version is I'm torn, or I'm going back and forth. To be torn means you're pulled strongly in 2 different directions, and it's genuinely difficult to choose. Honestly, I'm torn between the 2 offers. They both have real advantages. Say it with me. I'm torn between the 2. One more time. Torn. Here's a natural conversation. Imagine 2 friends on a phone call late at night, one of them clearly needing to talk something through out loud before making a decision. Okay, tell me everything again, because I want to help you actually decide this time, not just listen to you, go in circles, yes, fair. So option 1 pays more, but it's less interesting work. Option 2 pays less, but I'd actually be excited to go to work every day. And you're genuinely torn, not just saying that? No, I'm really torn. My head says option 1, my gut says option 2. Okay, here's a question. In 5 years, which version of you do you think you'd be prouder of? Option 2. Definitely option 2. There's your answer then. That phrase, my gut says, is a wonderful bonus expression. Your gut, in this sense, means your instinct or your inner feeling separate from logical thinking, and it pairs beautifully with being torn between 2 choices. Let's add one more word here for when a decision finally becomes clear. After a long period of uncertainty, imagine that same feeling, days of confusion, and then suddenly, one small conversation, One small moment, and everything becomes obvious. In basic English, now I know what to do. The advanced phrase is, it clicked, or things fell into place. To say something clicked means it suddenly became clear or made sense, almost instantly. As soon as she said that, it just clicked, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. Repeat with me. It just clicked. One more time, snapping your fingers if you want to, matching the suddenness of the word. Clicked. Now, before we move into our next block, let's take a proper, focused moment to talk directly about a listening skill, because I promised you this earlier, and it's honestly one of the most valuable things in this entire video. The real technique behind shadowing. A lot of learners think shadowing just means repeating a sentence after you hear it, with a small pause in between. That's not quite it, and it's actually much less effective than the real technique. True shadowing means listening and speaking at almost exactly the same time, like an echo chasing right behind the original voice, so close behind that you're not translating, you're not thinking, you're simply mirroring the sound, the rhythm, and the melody of what you hear, almost the way you'd hum along to a song you don't fully know the words to yet. The goal isn't perfect pronunciation on your first try. The goal is training your mouth and your ear to move together instantly, without the delay that comes from translating in your head first. Let's actually try it right now, together. I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to start speaking almost immediately, right on top of my voice, not after I finish. Ready? Here it comes. I was torn between the two offers, but eventually it just clicked. Now say it again with me, right on top of my voice, like an echo chasing close behind. I was torn between the two offers, but eventually it just clicked. One more time, a little faster, really trying to stay right behind the rhythm. I was torn, but it just clicked. That immediate, overlapping repetition is shadowing done correctly, and the more you practice it, even for just a few minutes a day, with any English audio you enjoy, the faster your listening and speaking will start to feel like one connected skill instead of two separate ones. Note, you're honestly doing wonderful work staying with me this far. We've built 14 strong pieces of vocabulary now. We've practiced real shadowing. We've taken a breath together, and we're only a little more than halfway through everything I have planned for you today. Coming up next, we're going into relationships and how people actually talk about connection and communication style. Then a second short pause, a full lesson on catching the main idea. When someone speaks quickly, a hands-on practice exercise where you'll describe the world around you using everything you've learned. And finally, a fast-paced fluency round to lock all of this into your memory before we close things out properly. Stay with me. We're not slowing down yet. Let's move into our 7th block now, relationships and communication style. Because how people talk about connection, trust, and the way they relate to each other is packed with vocabulary that basic English simply doesn't have room for. Picture this. You have a friend who, no matter what's happening in their own life, always makes time to listen when you're struggling. Always says exactly the right thing at exactly the right moment. In basic English, she's a good friend. The advanced, warmer way to describe this is, she's incredibly supportive, or even better, she's someone I can always lean on. To lean on someone means to depend on them for emotional support during a hard time. Whenever things get difficult, she's the person I lean on. Say it with me. Someone I can lean on. One more time, a little softer, the way you'd say it about someone you truly trust. Lean on. Here's a longer conversation for this one. And let's set the scene properly first. Picture two old friends sitting on a porch in the evening. The kind of comfortable silence between sentences that only exists between people who have known each other for years. Can I tell you something I haven't told anyone else? Of course, you know you can always lean on me, whatever it is. I think that's actually what I wanted to say, in a way. I don't think I've ever properly thanked you for that. You don't need to thank me for that. That's just what this is, still. Not everyone has someone like that in their life, and I don't take it for granted. Well, for what it's worth, you're exactly the same for me. Okay, now I might actually cry a little. That's allowed. Come here. Notice that phrase, I don't take it for granted. To take something for granted means to fail to appreciate something, because it's always present. So, saying you don't take it for granted is a beautiful, mature way of expressing gratitude for something steady and reliable in your life. Now let's look at the other side of relationships, the more difficult side, because real fluency also means being able to describe conflict, not just warmth. Imagine a friendship where slowly, over months, you've started drifting apart, not through any single argument, just less contact, less effort, until one day you realize the closeness is gone. In basic English, we're not close anymore. The precise advanced phrase is, we've drifted apart, or we've grown apart. To grow apart means two people gradually become less close over time, usually without a specific conflict causing it. We used to talk every single day. But, honestly, we've just grown apart over the years. Repeat with me, we've grown apart. Again, grown apart. Let's do a role swap here, because this is exactly the kind of emotionally honest conversation where role swapping helps you build real confidence, not just recognition. I'm going to read the first line as someone bringing up an old friendship that's faded, and I want you to answer as the other person, honestly, using grown apart or drifted apart somewhere in your response. Here's my line. Do you ever think about Sarah? I saw a photo of her the other day and realized we haven't spoken in almost 2 years. Pause now and answer out loud, honestly, as if you were responding to that. Here's one natural way to respond. Honestly, yeah, I think about her sometimes. I think we just grew apart after she moved. Nothing really happened. Life just got in the way. That phrase, life just got in the way, is another wonderful bonus expression, meaning everyday responsibilities and circumstances prevented something from continuing, and it's a very natural companion to grown apart. Let's add one final relationship word before we move forward. Think about someone who says one thing but clearly means another. Someone whose words and actual feelings don't quite match up, leaving you a little confused about where you actually stand with them.
In basic English,
I don't understand him. The sharper word is, he's hard to read. To be hard to read means someone's true feelings or intentions aren't easy to figure out from their behavior or expression. Honestly, he's really hard to read. I can never tell if he's upset or just tired. Say it with me. He's hard to read. One more time. Hard to read. Let's pause together again. For a short moment. The same gentle way we did earlier, because relationships can bring up real emotion, even in a language learning video. And I want to give that a small breath of space before we move into more active practice. For the next 20 seconds or so, just listen. No repeating, no vocabulary. Let your jaw relax. Unclench it if it's tight, which happens more than people realize while focusing hard. Notice the quiet around you right now, wherever you're listening from. In a moment, we'll come back with real energy for the second half of our listening's training and our final block. Take one more breath, and let's continue. Now, let's talk about a listening skill that changes everything once it clicks for you, and this is catching the main idea when someone is speaking quickly without needing to understand every single word. This is genuinely one of the biggest gaps between intermediate and advanced English speakers, because intermediate learners often try to translate and understand every word in real time, which is exhausting and honestly impossible once someone starts speaking at a natural, fast pace. Advanced speakers do something completely different. They let go of the small words, the connectors, the filler, and they hunt only for the content words, the nouns, the verbs, the key adjectives, and they let their brain fill in the rest from context. And here's the secret weapon that makes this feel natural instead of stressful. Small, quick reactions that buy you thinking time and show the other person you're following along, even if you missed a word or two. Phrases like, I see, right, that makes sense. Oh, interesting, got it. These aren't just polite filler. They're tools. They let a conversation keep flowing naturally while your brain quietly catches up in the background, instead of you freezing and asking, what? Ah! Every time you miss a single word. Let's practice this together. I'm going to say a fairly fast sentence, and I don't want you to try to catch every word. Just listen for the main idea, and then respond with one of those natural reactions. Ready? Here it comes, at a fairly natural, quicker pace. So basically, after the delay at the airport, we ended up missing our connection completely and had to rebook everything last minute. Now, what's the main idea? Something went wrong. At the airport, they missed their flight. They had to rebook. You don't need every detail. Now respond out loud with a natural reaction, like, oh no, that sounds stressful. Or right, that's rough. Try it now, out loud. Excellent. That single skill, catching the shape of a sentence instead of every word inside it, and responding naturally, even when you're not 100% certain, will yield more for your real-world listening confidence than almost anything else we've covered today. Let's move into our eighth and final vocabulary block now. Everyday challenges and resilience, because I want to close our content with words that describe strength, persistence, and getting through hard things. Since that's such a universally relatable part of life, no matter where you're from, picture this. You've had a genuinely difficult month, work stress, a relationship struggling, money tight, and somehow you're still getting up every morning and doing what needs to be done, even without feeling particularly strong. In basic English, I'm dealing with it. The advanced, more honest phrase is, I'm pushing through or I'm holding it together. To hold it together means to maintain composure and function normally, despite significant internal stress or difficulty. It's been a rough few months, but somehow I'm holding it together. Say it with me. I'm holding it together. One more time, with a little exhausted honesty in your voice, the way someone actually says this, holding it together. Here's a short, honest conversation for this one. Picture two friends grabbing coffee. One of them noticeably tired, the other one gently checking in. You look exhausted. Are you doing okay, actually? Honestly? Not really, but I'm holding it together, mostly. You don't have to pretend with me, you know that. I know. I think I just need this week to be over. Do you want to talk about it? Or do you just want to sit here for a bit? Just sitting here helps more than you'd think. That kind of quiet honesty. Not really, but I'm holding it together, is exactly the emotional realism that makes advanced English sound genuinely human instead of just grammatically correct. Now for our final two words. Think about someone who, after a serious setback, losing a job, a difficult breakup, a health scare, doesn't just survive it, but comes back somehow stronger, wiser, more capable than before. In basic English, they got through it. The powerful advanced word is resilient. Resilient describes someone's ability to recover quickly from difficulty and adapt well to hard situations. She's incredibly resilient. Every setback just seems to make her more determined. Say it with me. She's so resilient. Again, letting the word land with real respect. Resilient. And finally, let's talk about the specific moment resilience often begins. Not the recovery itself, but the decision to keep going right in the middle of the hardest part. In basic English, I didn't give up. The advanced phrase is, I dug deep, meaning you found strength or determination you didn't know you had, usually during an extremely difficult moment. I honestly didn't think I'd finish the race, but somehow I dug deep and got through the last few miles. Repeat with me. I had to dig deep. One more time. Dig deep. Let's do one last short role swap here to close out our vocabulary blocks properly. I'll read a line as someone checking in with a friend who recently went through something genuinely hard, and I want you to answer as that friend, using resilient or dig deep somewhere in your response. Here's my line. I still don't know how you got through everything that happened this year. Seriously, how did you do it? Pause here and answer honestly, out loud, using one of today's words. Here's one natural response you might compare yours to. Honestly, I had to dig deep more times than I can count, but somehow I got through it. And I think I came out more resilient because of it. Notice how naturally those two words work together in one sentence. Dig deep, describing the effort in the moment. Resilient, describing who you become because of it. Now, before we go into our fluency round, I want to give you one practical exercise, something you can genuinely use every single day, even without a video playing, to turn everything you've learned today from passive knowledge into a real active habit. This is a technique called sensory self-narration, and it's simple. You describe your immediate surroundings out loud in English using your senses, and you deliberately reach for the advanced vocabulary you've just learned instead of the basic version. Let's try it together right now. Look around wherever you are. What do you actually see, hear, and feel? I'll model it first, using today's vocabulary, and then it's your turn. Here's mine. There's a soft light coming through the window beside me. And honestly, it feels surreal how quiet the street is right now. I can hear a faint hum from somewhere outside, maybe a car, and I feel oddly composed, considering how busy today has been. Now it's your turn. Look around and out loud, describe what you see, hear, and feel, reaching for at least 2 or 3 of today's words. Elated, unflappable, moved, mindlessly, evasive, resonates, on the fence, surreal, eye-opening, torn, clicked, lean on, grown apart, hard to read, holding it together, resilient, dig deep. Take your time. Say it now, out loud, beautifully done. That habit alone, done for even 2 or 3 minutes a day, is one of the fastest ways to move vocabulary from your notebook into your actual spoken reflexes. Now, let's bring everything together with our fluency round. I'm going to move through today's words quickly, one after another. No long explanations this time. Just the word and a quick, natural sentence. And I want you to say each one out loud, right after me, keeping the pace moving, almost like a rhythm. Ready? Here we go. Elated. She was elated. Moved. I was deeply moved. Unflappable. He stayed unflappable. A flaw. There's a flaw in the plan. Pulled it off. We actually pulled it off. Pessimistic. Try not to be so pessimistic. Throws cold water. Don't throw cold water on it. Doom scrolling. Stop doom scrolling and go to bed. Mindlessly. I was mindlessly scrolling. Evasive. He got evasive again. Beating around the bush. Quit beating around the bush. Putting it off. I've been putting it off. Push back. I'll respectfully push back. Resonates. That really resonates with me. On the fence. I'm on the fence about it. Surreal. It felt completely surreal. Turn for the better. Things took a turn for the better. Eye-opening. It was genuinely eye-opening. Torn. I'm torn between the two. Clicked. It just clicked for me. Lean on. Someone I can lean on. Grown apart. We've grown apart, honestly. Hard to read. He's really hard to read. Holding it together. I'm holding it together. Resilient. She's incredibly resilient. Dig deep. I had to dig deep. Nice work. Say that entire list with me one more time. Faster. Letting the rhythm carry you. Don't overthink any single word. Just keep moving. That's exactly the fluency muscle we're training. not perfection, momentum. The more you do that fast recall, the more these words stop feeling like vocabulary and start feeling like your own natural voice. Here's your task before you close this video, and I want something specific and real, not just a like and a subscribe. In the comments, write one sentence using any word from today. Elated, resilient, dig deep, hard to read, whatever felt most like you. I genuinely read these, and putting a new word into your own real sentence about your own real life is one of the single fastest ways to make it permanently yours instead of something you half remember next week. Nen, thank you for spending this time building your English with me today. Every word you have practiced, every conversation you repeated, every moment you paused and answered out loud instead of staying quiet. That's exactly how real fluency gets built. One honest, real situation at a time, not through memorization, but through use. Keep noticing these words in the English you hear this week, in shows, in conversations, in songs, because now that they're in your mind, you'll start hearing them everywhere, and that's when you know a word has truly become yours. I'll see you in the next lesson here on Natural Word English. Until then, go find a real moment today to use at least one of these words out loud.